using Experiment Designer to add new experiments to Materiality. In this demo, I'm going to pick a new experiment that I would like to add to the system and set up the metadata required to describe this experiment. And once I've done that, I can then load data against this experiment using the data loader. Any experiment, if you think of it, is composed of basically the following components. The techniques are the test protocols that describe how an experiment is performed. Parameters are the actual values of what it is that you will hold fixed or variable when performing the experiment. And results are the data that emanate from an experiment. In addition, there is a models tab that can be used to instantiate things like equations that you might use to describe your data. In doing so, we pretty much can capture the context of any experiment using our technology. Let me start by doing this as an example. So if I'm doing an experiment that, in this case, let us say, is measuring the stress strain properties using a torsional method, I would like to put that kind of parametric information in there. So for example, temperature might be a variable, so that's a numeric. It's a test parameter. It's in centigrade, and I can even put a default value, which is 23, but maybe not. Okay, so I add that. I can add another one to speed, numeric, test parameter. Okay. This is the specimen information. And so on. Then I move over to the next tab, which is my results tab. And as I said, I was doing a torsional experiment, so maybe in this case I would like to describe a torsional and it's a scalar, and it's in megapascal. Create. I can do curves. For example, XY. I want to display this as a curve without any points. I do not wish to display the tabular data because I may have 100 points and maybe I don't want to do that. And here I'll have a strain, and the units would be percent. And so on. I can keep on adding many versions of this. I can add pictures, for example, so maybe I can do that. I would like to do an image. So in this way, I'm creating spaces to store the outcomes of my experiments. I can then have models. So if I wish to fit my torsional stress strain data to an equation, maybe I can call it a K model, and that is an equation in X and Y. And I can even describe the equation and say that equals e times x to the power y, and then I can add my coefficients out here. Y, okay, and in this way I can create models that I can plot compared to the experimental data. The last thing I do is I select techniques that would be pertinent for this experiment. So I might have a test method that I've written down somewhere, or I might have a test method that is a standard, and I can simply call that out. Let us say in this case this is an applicable standard, and I can then update, at which point I have now populated the experiment with techniques, models, results, and parameters, and I am done setting up a brand new experiment inside Materiality. Once I publish this, I have the ability to take this data, the data in using the data loader.